Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Dr. David Snyder coming at you from our YouTube channel. I've only got a few minutes here, but I figured since I haven't been on in a while that I'd come in and I'd hang out with y'all. Forgive my hair; I've got Memorial Day hair going on. I've got my Platinum AMA that's going to start in just a few minutes, and I thought I'd just pop on and see what's going on. If you're here, go ahead, type in the chat. If you got a question, I'll be on for about 40 minutes or so, and I'm here to answer any questions you may or may not have. So let me have it. What do you got in the chat? Let's see here. I gotta see if I can turn on my. Hey, there's DMC from New Zealand. Good to see you, D. Welcome, my friend. Do you have a question or something that we can shoot the shit about? No pun intended. How's everybody's AMA going? Where are you guys checking in from? I know Dee's coming in from New Zealand. Crypto Chris says, "What's up, Dave? How's life going?" Life is good. We're talking to you direct from my secret sanctuary out here in the wilds of San Diego. Alana, shout out to Alana there, David. How are you doing? New York City in the house. Yeah, baby. Rochelle from Florida, thank you for coming out. What's new and exciting? Karlyn, Toronto's checking in. I love it. I love it. I love it. Welcome to Planet David. All right. You got me for about 40 minutes or so. Then I got to jump on and do a special AMA for my Platinum and above folks. And for those of you who aren't familiar with our what I'm talking about, we have different levels of access to me and interaction with me here on Planet David. We have the gold, the platinum, and the diamond level. And gold level members, which is about $10 a month, gets access to premium content that we shoot every single month. It's for members only. For those of you who would like a little bit more access to me, able to get to interact with me personally and get your questions answered, we have the platinum level. And platinum level gets everything that the gold members do, but they also get 2 private group AMAs with me a month on the first and third Monday of every month. We get together from 4 to about 5 or 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock sometimes. And all I do is for the next 2.5 hours is I talk to you through Zoom and we just answer questions and we talk about stuff and I point you at resources and things like that. And that's like $25 a month, $27 a month. So if you're interested in being able to participate in those, then go ahead and go to the community tab and click the platinum level. If you would like an opportunity to actually do things with me on the 3rd Saturday of every month, we have another level. It's for our diamond levels. And that is on the 3rd Saturday of every month. In addition to all the AMAs and everything else, you actually get to come in and for 4, 5, 6 hours, you get to actually do drills right alongside our group with me. And I give you feedback and guide you through processes and things of that nature. It's a lot of fun. We've been doing it for quite a while now. And people seem to really, really like it. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and go to the community tab and click on the level that you think is it best fits your needs. But so that's my little primer. So let me go look at some of the questions we got here. Revelation says, love from the Netherlands. We got LA checking in. We got Maui. Terrence, hello, Terrence. Good to see you again. Let's see. Robert Master de Casa. I've read so many articles and many, many videos, but I still can't grasp the hypnosis process. Any suggestions? I've been studying this for 2 years. My question for you, Robert, would be, what are you studying and how are you going about it? You may be one of those people that just needs to get in a class with a bunch of other human beings and have these experiences firsthand rather than try and have them vicariously or through self-directed learning. A lot of us like to do the DIY thing, do it yourself. Well, there are certain things that just are better learned of somebody else driving, right? You may be one of those people. Certainly a lot of people who come into this world come in with a lot of preconceived ideas about what the experience with it. And I'll be honest with you, the longer I'm in this discipline, the less I find you can't do with it. It's actually a gateway into a lot of different areas of tapping into the powers of the mind and the human being. As I've started saying to people after my last 7-day training out in Costa Rica, human beings are magic incarnate. And so when I see you, I see universes of possibility, but we need a way to tap into that. And sometimes we can't always do it ourselves. We need guidance, at least for a little part of the way. At some point, you have to become your own teacher. But sometimes it's better to have somebody guide you to the point where you don't need them anymore. So I recommend if you're having trouble grasping the whole hypnosis process, the better the questions you ask, the better the answers I can give you, but also maybe getting into a live event with other people who are going through the same things you are might be a better use of your time. Let's see here. Mandy's from Australia. Jeff Sims, how do I increase my imagination? Play. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to increase your imagination, you've got to play. You've got to be more playful. You've got to engage in fantasies, in imagination games, things that allow you to stretch and to conceive of things that you don't normally have the opportunity to conceive of, right? Who was it? I forget. I forget where I saw it. I don't know if it was Alice in Wonderland, but I have to believe of 3 inconceivable things every day or something like that. But the truth is, there's many ways to train your imagination. One of the hardest parts for a lot of us is believing that that's okay, to indulge in imagination, to indulge in flights of fantasy. And then there's the training of certain types of faculties, like your ability to see pictures, your ability to create sounds or generate internal feelings. We call it kinesthetic hallucinations. These are all aspects of your imagination. And each of them has its own field of study and ways of developing it. But if you don't give yourself first the freedom to play with your mind, you won't tap into those. And the secret I find over and over again, after many years of doing this, guiding people through all different kinds of processes at all different levels, is this idea of being playful. The more playful you can be, the more rapidly you tap into the potentials that control and guide your neurology. Okay. Hope that helps. See, Jeanette, you look amazing as well. Thank you. Thank you. I just threw this on for you. Michael Lewis, hello. Crypto Chris says, I just want to thank you. I'm starting insurance, and the amount of confidence I have is greatly from your courses I bought. Awesome. Keep us posted, Crypto, on how you're doing. And if you have any questions, post them, and we'll do what we can to keep you motivated and on fire and inspired. D. McC says, whereabouts in the world are you? I am in the wilds of San Diego. We just got back from 2 weeks in Costa Rica teaching our most advanced vibrational influence training ever. Some very lucky people got to get a real deep dive into behind the scenes at what goes on in the life of Dr. David. And they spent 7 days learning how to generate massive types of seemingly magical phenomena and tapping into powers that are largely comic book stuff, but we showed them how to do it, and they were able to do it, and it was fun. It was amazing. But now we're back in San Diego. I was jonesing to be amongst my peeps. My peeps meaning you, my tribe, my peoples, the people who've supported us over the years and who keep coming back, finding more and more value in what we do and taking this stuff out in the world and using it to make your lives better. And so I needed a fix, and you're it. So you're my drug. Let's see here. Let's see. Can I talk about suspended needle, suspended sword? I've talked about it many, many times. If you go to some of my webinars, when I start talking about the emotional map of the face, I'll talk a lot about suspended sword and suspended needle. And there's lots of different. Heather Endra says Costa Rica was magical. Yes, she was there. The suspended needle, suspended sword has a lot of different aspects to it, but the biggest one is self-sabotage. People with this marking ultimately expressed anger or vented themselves in a situation or circumstance that came back to haunt them in a very big way. So much so that they actually put a little governor, a little block on their personal power and how much of it they're willing to exert or express. And so when you see that marking, at some point in your life, that marking is going to activate, and it's going to keep you from moving forward in life. Now, I can't comment on what context that may be. I can't comment on what degree that may be, but that's almost always what that marking means to a greater or lesser degree. Is at some point you tried to push back, you try to express you to decide, I'm never going to do that shit again, and you lock down your personal power. So it's a good idea, if you have this marking, to explore it and kind of do the best you can to dissolve what's behind it, so you can actually tap into your true power and your true potentials. Narwhalist at Ground 7, I'd love to see some of that. David has some good stuff about it as well. Okay, cool. Robert, yeah, okay. Rochelle, found you back in 2015. Thank you for all the great content. My question is, what are the best ways to keep the optimism when those around you aren't? Great question. And the fastest way I have found to do this, it's a multi-stage process, but this is the one I think will help you. So there's several layers to this. So the first one I'm going to start with, the most basic and most foundational. If you've been in Planet David any length of time, the first thing is control your posture, control your breathing. Change your posture and your physiology back to a state related to a time when you felt optimistic, related to a time when you felt like there was all kinds of possibilities and the worst was over, everything is going to get better. Remember a time in your life when you felt that, remember how you were standing, how you were breathing, and hold that for at least 2 minutes. The next thing that you want to do once you've done that, once you've interrupted the negative state that's trying to pull you down, is you want to ask yourself different questions. And that first question I would be is, what does all this have to really teach me? What's good about what I've learned from this experience? Okay. That series of questions that you start to ask will cause a domino effect in your own mind and in your own neurology that starts to reorient on how to answer that question in the way that's in alignment with the direction of the question. The next piece is going to be to always remember that nothing lasts forever. Everything changes. That's the one constant in our universe. There will always be change, right? So if you take those three aspects, the posture and the breathing, the self-questioning, and the realization that everything changes, nothing is permanent, right? In a good way. You know, the old saying, tough times never last, but tough people do. Same idea, right? You don't need to last 10 years. You just need to last today. And then when you wake up tomorrow, you just need to last today, right? But these are, again, people need a process. There it is. Start with changing your posture, changing your breathing. Hold it for at least 2 minutes. Go into your self-questions. What's good about this? What did I learn from it? What can this teach me, right? How can I build on this and turn this into a positive thing? These are all very, very powerfully positive vector-oriented directed questions that will cause your neurology to start coming up with different ways of thinking about your situation, okay? Avoid allowing yourself to become what I've come to call one of the fear infected. We're living in a world that is very much suffering from various levels of PTSD, both self-induced and other-induced. And nobody's coming to save us except us. And so this is where we start. Change your posture, change your breathing, ask yourself a different set of questions. How many different ways can you think about the things in your life that give you that are good? In other words, what good can you derive from it? Because as you start orienting on what these events or these situations or these circumstances have to teach you from this pattern interrupted state, you'll start finding reasons to get your optimism back, because there's always opportunities. There's always chances. There's always something you can do, right? So I hope that helps. Karlyn says, Costa Rica sounded amazing. It was. I taught Sistema for 3 days in a row out there. People were pretty blown away. I had fun with it. Let's see here. Joe Cerrani says, hi, Dave. Hey, buddy. Adriana Compton. Hello from Monroe, North Carolina. I was recently introduced to your work by a good friend. I'm happy to be here and learn from you. Adriana, we're happy to have you here. Right? If you can pardon my bad hair day, then we're all good. Let's see here. Zoka Tomas. I am from Hungary. And I have to say, what I've learned from you and Mark Cunningham gave me skills that none of my colleagues can do in my country. Thank you. Zoka, you are very welcome. I'm glad you took the skills that we have and used them to make your life better. And remember, it's still just going to get better. This is just the beginning, right? I have found no top level to these skill sets. That's one of the reasons I keep teaching. I keep finding new stuff because I'm not done. The more I learn, the less I know. And you'll find as you start to delve deeper and deeper into these skills that there's just other levels that you can hit. It's like video games. You just keep going up in levels. Okay. Skyway says, heart, 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 kiss, kiss, kiss. Thank you. Antron Petty. Afternoon, David. I purchased a bundle course back in March and I'm stuck on state control and finding the thought in my body. Pretend you know where it is, point to that, and just start the process from there. The secret to hacking your own neurology is going back to this idea of the imagination and playing pretend. Okay. This is a secret that's been hidden in plain sight for decades, if not centuries. And this is the one thing that moves us through the processes faster. If you're having trouble because your conscious mind is getting in the way, just play pretend and do the drills from there and they will work. Okay. Dave Sun says, hey, David. Hey, back. KO, hey, David, I've been hoping to see you live and heard you once say women are attracted to dominant alpha male. And I'm really interested in evolution. Can you talk about that for a second? I could. I'm just not sure what aspect I'm talking about. If you can give me a better question or a better targeted question, I can give you a better targeted answer. You're going to find that when I'm on these AMAs, pretty much any topic is available. But the secret is, and I've said this in videos, I've said this in other content that we've put out, the quality of your life is determined largely by the quality of the questions that you ask. And your neurology is compelled to answer whatever questions that you put to it, regardless of how badly formed or negative or positive the question is. So as we learn to become better question askers, we'll start tapping into better sources of information, better resources, things of that nature, right? And if you go back and you look at my content, a huge amount of what we do that creates alchemy, that creates changes in people, is we just ask different questions. Questions from a different perspective, questions that imply a different perspective, questions that maybe the person never thought about asking that give more freedom and flexibility to the situation, right? A great way to start breaking up that really staticky, ossified kind of thinking process is our Renegade Reframing course. We learn 14 different ways to look at any belief or issue that you have for at least 1 to 14 different ways. And if that doesn't free your mind up to think about new possibilities, I don't know what will. And then, of course, there's belief change work that we can do and things of that nature. But most people are really committed to the beliefs that they've created, even though they're just decisions that you've made about the way the world is, right? Let's see here. So yeah, ask me a better question and I can give you a better response with regard to attraction, alpha males and stuff like that. I gotta be careful with that word alpha male, because it's been taking a lot of flack lately. You know, it's almost synonymous now with toxic masculinity, which is another buzzword that really pisses me off. But we can have toxic anything. So let's see here. Chris Hewitt, hello from Sweden. Joshua, hi David from India. Welcome. India's in the house. Alej 347 says hello from New York City. How can I feel prosperous? I always feel stuck in my professional and economic life. Well, again, I don't know if you heard the last 5 to 10 minutes of what I've been talking about, but Alej, what I've just talked about, if you didn't catch it, go back when the replay comes up and listen to pretty much everything from maybe 10 minutes to 1750 on the live event timer. And I think you'll get a pretty good idea of how to do exactly what you're asking. SD, hello from Seattle. Hey, SD. Antron says, thank you, sir. Ground 7 says, can you go into more details? What have you found out so far for reverse engineering mudras? Oh my God. What have I found out so far? Let me count the ways. Give me something a little bit more specific, Ground, and we'll see what I can do for you there, okay? Why are women attracted to alpha males? Because of evolution. Historically speaking, the alphas, or the dominant members of a particular group, always had access. They generally, first of all, they tended to be healthier than the rest of the pack, which is a major sorting factor in terms of biological reproduction. All species sort for, that engage in sexual reproduction anyway, sort for the healthiest members of their community. The healthiest members of those communities also tend to be the strongest, the most hardy in terms of the ability to actually find and get food, to protect themselves and their mates, and ultimately their offspring. And so we are hardwired to sort for dominance. We are hardwired to sort for strength in many different ways. And it's that predisposition, that orientation on strength and health, that leads to everything else that we consider to be desirable. You know, believe it or not, intelligence is considered a form of strength. Most people don't understand how that's true from a very primal perspective, but in our current society, big brains equal big bucks equals big resources equals a lot of strength on a social and economic level, right? So women will sort for very, very powerful, very dominant, healthy alphas, but they'll also sort for cerebrally dominant people who have tremendous, tremendous ability to use their mind to get ahead in societies. Okay. So I hope that helps. Again, we're going back to biology and cultural evolution. Superiority Complex says, hey, Dr. David, do you have any recommendations for learning more about chaos magic? Maybe if you can ask me a more specific question about magic or chaos magic or learning magic in general, I might be able to give you a better answer. Okay. Again, I love questions. The more specific the question, the more precise an answer I can give you. Okay. Let's see here. How to beat alcohol addiction. Ron, I would recommend you seek out a competent therapist, hypnotherapist, psychotherapist, whatever. Our approach to dealing with addictions would be regress to cause, whether that's holographic regression or classical regression technique. Certainly you want somebody qualified to work with those kinds of issues. If you're trying to do this on your own, start with the self-mastery supercharger. Get your ass to some of our live events where people who are actually competent in this work can guide you through processes. But for something like an alcohol, any kind of addiction, really, I would recommend you reach out to a competent therapist that you trust, who works in modalities that resonate with you, and start there. Okay. Mahdi Shabbat, good to see you, Mahdi. Good to see David. What is fear? How can one remove fear that is deep in the subconscious? What is fear? Fear is an energy. It's an energy of lack, separation, disconnection, pain, and it locks in the body and it accumulates over time. And as it accumulates, we become more and more fearful. And so a lot of the work that we do is understanding this innate movement towards contraction and separation, right? Everybody's out to get us. Everybody's trying to take our stuff, right? But ultimately, fear is an energy and a type of consciousness, for lack of a better word, a very low level of consciousness, but it's one that is part and parcel to the animal suit that we're wearing, and we have to learn to deal with it. In fact, that's why if you take a spiritual perspective, that's why most of us came to this particular place at this particular time in this vibrational range, is to experience this fear and learn how to transcend it. Okay, most of us are not transcending it as well as we would like, but we're on our way. So, but really, fear is just something you're doing, right? It's a signal from the neurology that something in the environment needs to be paid attention to, and depending on the narrative we assign to those feelings will determine largely the reality or the set level of consciousness that we're operating from. Okay, so I hope that kind of answers your question. How can one remove fear that's deep in the subconscious? Point to where you feel it and unpack it and attack it. Okay, that's really how we do it. Fear is all the fears that you're going to encounter structurally are no different from each other. And largely the stories or structures of those things are often quite similar from one person. And again, I'm not belittling anybody's fears or anybody's process, but when you peel back the hood and you see how all these things are built, you see a common structure, a common substance that they're built out of, all of which is changeable and malleable if you have the right tools and the right guidance. And so we do our best to provide that at whatever level people can afford, right? If you can only afford our free content, good, that's fine. If you want a deeper dive into what we do behind the scenes and the deeper levels of alchemy that there are to explore, we have ways for you to do that. But at the end of the day, when you come to this channel, you should at least leave it with a tool that will allow you to make your life even a little bit better just from having been here. But really, everyone goes through fear. Everybody has different tolerances for fear. Different things trigger us. But at the end of the day, all of our fears are more alike than different. So if we can point to where you feel it, then we can start to change it. Okay. Hopefully that helps. Mo6869. Hi from England. May I ask what crystal is in your bracelet you wear now? And then you mean this? You mean my necklace, or you mean the this bracelet? This is a related tourmaline, and this is turquoise and tiger eye. This is my Native American piece, and this is my custom-made jewelry piece from down the street. Let's see here. Is this useful? Are you guys getting anything out of this talk? If you're getting something out of it, please go ahead and like and subscribe. But you're all subscribers because I only release this to my subscribers. So let's see here. Ivy Bolt says, I kind of have the feeling that you know who Warren Farrell is. Unfortunately, I do not know who Warren Farrell is. But if you can sing a few bars, maybe I can pick it up. John Pachkowski, what books do you recommend for those who want to learn all of the neurological brain differences between the sexes? Well, start with Brain Rules, probably a good user-friendly one. Most of the stuff by Desmond Morris will probably give you some good insights. Look at Why Him, Why Her by Dr. Helen Fisher. Look at How Emotions Are Made by Dr. Lisa Feldman Barrett. The oxytocin code, I think, is one that might be useful for you guys. There's probably lots of good gender-based neuroscience books out there, but those are the ones that are in my personal library that give me kind of insights into things. So I would start there. Let's see here. So Hernan Sanabria, shoot your link. What link? Which link are we talking about? Ground 77. First, I must say that you are a great teacher, and I had the same way as you into researching about consciousness. Read a lot of books, and recently found a great man named Jerry Tennant. Not familiar with him, but now you've sparked my interest, so I'm going to have to go. Now I have to look at Warren Farrell and Jerry Tennant. I have to put these guys on my list. Thank you, you motherfuckers. Now I got more research to do. All right. Crypto Chris, if you do the Napoleon Hill Roundtable of Imagination Counselors technique a lot, can it make you crazy? Well, anything if done improperly or in an unstable environment can make you crazy. Probably not so much. I mean, I can't really say one way or another if it can make you crazy. Did it make Napoleon Hill crazy? Did it make everybody who learned it from crazy? It's a matter of opinion, you know. So Ground 7 says, if you don't know about him, it will interest you to go more deeper into Mudas. Cool. I'm excited to hear that. Amar Ahmad, how does hypnosis and influence tie in with TCM psyche, specifically Shen, Po, Hun, Yi, and Jur? Oh, man, let me count the ways. Hypnosis is probably a far more powerful, more direct way to heal those aspects of the Shen than most of what they're teaching you in Chinese medicine. And it's because Chinese medicine looks at things in terms of an ecosystem and an environment, like a water course. Whereas hypnosis tends to view consciousness and the ways we approach it more like a data stream. And so if we understand that the three aspects of the human being, one of which includes that you have a mental body, an astral or energy body, and a physical body, acupuncture and derivatives of it, the herbs, the body work, they tend to focus on the energy body and the physical body. And so a lot of times it takes a lot longer to affect change at the mental body. Hypnosis, NLP, holographic memory resolution, we're going to shoot right to the mental body, fix the energetic imbalance generator at its source, and then that imbalance will actually dissolve out very, very quickly. Because if you think of the source at the mental body level, like the spring that's filling the river, that's hitting the dam, and it's not leaving, the moment this stops, this energy starts to seep out, and the block goes away on its own, almost spontaneously many times. It's very, very quick when you affect change from the mental body down, as opposed to trying to manifest from the energetics up. The only time that actually seems to change, well, actually it doesn't really change, because what we do is, with our spinning and magic frame and color breathing, we're integrating all three bodies simultaneously. And so you get a continual change from the most subtle to the coarsest and deepest. So, but yeah, there's a lot of, most of what you would consider hypnosis in the Chinese medical side would be known as Neigong or Shengong, literally spiritual discipline or inner work. And a lot of their processes are actually very old school, very, very similar to old school hypnotic techniques. They just never separated the energetic component from it. So I hope that helps. Awesome answer. Thank you, David. I really appreciate it. Ground 77 SE connected to Western and Eastern medicine. As I'm interested, how much did you learn about mudras regarding the voltages it changes within the body? I haven't experimented with how things regulate in terms of voltage in the body. I'm more focused on the subjective phenomena that they tend to be associated with and what they produce. Certainly, I think that depending on what practices you're using, you can certainly create more voltage in the body. So I think there's definitely that aspect to it, but I haven't personally looked at it in terms of how it can practically create change for us. Dave's son, how do I know when it's time to end a friendship? I feel worse after seeing this person. I always feel like I'm being talked down to. They always mention how they are doing better than other people. Well, that would be 3 reasons right there. Keep in mind that if you spend more time coming away from an interaction with somebody feeling worse than when you first encountered them, that's a sign. Okay. I'm going to go back to something that Richard Bandler once said, and maybe I'm taking it out of context. Maybe I'm just adding my own spin to it. But take this as it will. When you look at the relationship, how much value is this person actually bringing to your life? How are they making your life better? And when I say better, I'm not talking in terms of what they can do for you in terms of favors or money or what have you. That's transactional. Although that's certainly an aspect of it. But when you think about it, when you're with this person, does your life get better? Subjectively, do you feel better about you? Do you feel better about your life? Do you feel more connected and less alone in the world because of this connection that you have with this person? If the answer is yes, then they're adding value to your life. They're worth keeping. If the opposite is true, then you need to put on your big boy or big girl pants and start cutting some cords. Because, and again, to quote Chris Voss, again, he was talking in terms of negotiations and mediations, but I'm going to paraphrase him here and transfer this into this. He would always say, no deal is better than a bad deal, right? Well, let's look at that. If all human interactions are negotiations or communications, then no relationship is better than a bad relationship, right? It's better to be alone and happy than with somebody and miserable. That's my belief. Now, you don't have to, nobody here has to agree with anything that I say, but having been lonely or been alone and happy and not lonely and miserable and the other way around, if we want the relationships in our life that are fulfilling to us, then we have to do 2 things. A, we must remove the people who don't fit that bill, who don't fit our model of the way we want to live our lives, because they're holding space for people who would make our lives better. The second piece of that is we need to become somebody who brings value to other people's lives simply by living their life in harmony with who they want to be, right? I've said this before, I'll say it again. The harder you have to work to be in a relationship with somebody, the harder you're going to have to work to stay in that relationship. And I'm not talking from the spectator's perspective. I'm talking about somebody who's lived that life, who is actually in many ways still living that life, right? Are they worth it? I think so. But is it work? Damn right it is, right? So at the end of the day, you have to decide, is this person bringing as much to the relationship as they're taking? Consistently. It's always going to be some give or take, some less than 50-50 equality going on. But as a rule, more often than not, are the people in your life giving you the life you want or allowing you to live the life you want? If the answer is no, then it's on you to remove them. And sometimes you can do that gently. And sometimes you have to just cut the cords and say, that's it, we're done. Right? And I can't tell you the best way to do that. Right? That's something that's uniquely personal. So I hope that helps. Right? And people, and here's the one thing, like I said earlier at the beginning of this video, the one thing you can count on is that things are going to change. Period. End of story. One of the biggest things that holds us back as humans is this desire to hold on to everything, for things to remain the same. They It can't, right? The universe is going to force change on us one way or another. We can either lean into it and learn how to surf, or we can get knocked over by wave after wave after wave and rail at the universe for being what it's always been, right? You're all magic waiting to happen. So grab a hold of it, grab hold of that power, take it out and use it. It's okay. It's, sometimes it's better. Again, I said this to my wife and she actually loved this particular. Sometimes it's better to be an asshole for a minute than an asshole for the rest of your life, right? It's not easy. If it were easy, people would be doing a lot more of it, right? But at some point, we have to take responsibility for the quality of the lives we lead. It's easy to blame. At the end of the day, look in the mirror. The only people can really make that change is us, right? I'm sounding so preachy today. Anyway, I hope that's useful to people. Alex P. Is manifesting just letting life come to you rather than just chasing and attracting? This chasing energy actually resists manifestation. In a lot of ways, yeah. Manifesting, remember, everything that you could ever want or ever have wanted or ever will want, according to physicists, is already here. The question becomes, why aren't we grabbing a hold of it? Why aren't we perceiving it? It's because of the filters in place that give us an illusion that it's not here. So enlightenment to me, which is analogous to the ability to manifest things better and faster, is the removal of the filters that are keeping you from perceiving the infinity, the infinite abundance that's already around you, right? And as we do that, enlightenment isn't a process of learning more. It's about getting rid of the things you thought you knew, right? And seeing things without those filters in place. But the more we try to chase things, a lot of times the faster it runs away from us. And that's what the Taoists were trying to teach us in their Yi Jing and this concept of yin and yang, right? Let's see here. Antron Preddy, should I do the state control exercises on an empty stomach? Here's the thing about state control drills. You should do them everywhere you can under any circumstance that you can as you get more competent with the drills. Why is that? Because state control is like a martial art. State control is like lifting weights. The only way you're going to get better at state control is to do it over and over and over again, and then add the levels of complexity, add the levels of difficulty and challenge to the work, right? Most people are still on training wheel state control, which is still better than most people learn. But at the end of the day, if you really want to tap into the true power that the state control training that we give has for you, you need to put yourself in environments that are progressively more challenging so that you can build up that state control muscle. Otherwise, you're going to reach a certain point and that's as far as you're going to go, right? You have to, again, it's called training for a reason, right? Understanding the techniques for how to do it, that's empowering on many, many levels. But if you don't do the drills, if you don't play with your state control, if you don't find opportunities to stretch it and test it, you're never going to find out what your true level really is until it comes out of nowhere and takes you by surprise, right? So think about where you're at, think about where you want to be, find little steps between where you are and where you want to be, and just put yourself in those situations and practice your state control. Right? Well, let's see here. Let's see here. Dean McSee says, David, what are thoughts and where do you think they come from? Wow. Well, that's a loaded question. Thoughts are intentions that leak through our different levels of body from the akasha or the void. Think of it as the source of our mental body. And then that mental body wraps itself in an astral or energy body. And then that astral or energy body wraps itself within or into a physical form. So the thoughts that we have, or thoughts from a spiritual perspective, are ideas and concepts, right? From a structural perspective, they're a vibrational field that has a structure to it that perpetuates a certain perspective, a level of consciousness, certain body feelings and associations, right? So if when I ask you what thoughts are made of, they'll tell me energy, or they'll tell me vibrations, or they'll tell me different things. But really, functionally, as far as your physical neurology is concerned, thoughts are made of visual, auditory, kinesthetic, olfactory, and gustatory distinctions, qualities that interact to create the illusion of a movie or a narrative. Okay. So I hope that helps. Get Smart Quick says, hey, Mr. Schneider, your products have helped me garner financial freedom. Thank you. Hallelujah. 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 Congratulations, brother. I can't wait to get my cut. No, I'm teasing. Congratulations. Keep using it. It just gets better. Pedro Couto, how to attract the dream job? Can I manifest that? How? Like events and people do I meant to put there? The universe can give me that like this. Okay, Pedro, let's go back and rewrite that sentence so I can understand it a little better, so I can give you a better question. The short answer is yes, you can manifest all that stuff as long as you are willing to become the kind of person who can have it. Okay, remember, everything that you could ever want or need, including that dream job, is already out there. There's light, from a Kabbalistic perspective, they say there's light out there waiting to come into a vessel. That vessel is you. Are you the vessel that can contain and transform that light or transduce that light? That's what you got to do. You got to become the person who can have it, and the light will find you. The manifestations will find you. Okay? Take the right actions, have the right identity, which goes to your vessel, and you will, in fact, draw into your life those ideal circumstances. Okay? At least ideal for you at that level of your current evolution. Right? Get Smart Quick says, especially the one with James Hughes, thank you. Keep shining your light. I will do my best. Get Smart Quick. NLP for copywriting. Nice. Keekin, I like the stream. Thanks for sharing this with me. Get Smart says, sleight of mouth. Okay. Superiority complex. Thanks. Get Smart Quick. I already have one of those books. Okay. Cool. Clara from Down Under. Glad you're still with us. We will get there eventually. As soon as your country kind of relaxes a little bit on the vaccination requirements, we will be there with bells on. We've been trying to get there for 3 years now. I promise we're going to come see you. Crypto Chris, what characteristic would you say has most led you to your success in life? What characteristic? Desire and relentless determination to get at answers. Most of the things that moved me forward in my life were things that started as obstacles that I needed to overcome and questions that I needed answers to. And I just wasn't going to stop until I found a way to get those questions answered. You know, quality of the questions changed, and so did my life. Right? One piece at a time. Let's see here. Hold on a second. Let me look. I think Stephanie's. Hold on a second. Let me go back to this. Okay, sorry about that. I had a message from my Stephanie, my administrative goddess, who was wondering about links. Let's see here. So Joe Cerrani says, Dave, that last comment about relationships was spot on. Thank you very much. You're very welcome, Joe. Dean McSee says, thank you for answering my question. Happy to. Let's see here. Ivy Bolt, Dr. Warren Farrell contributed to the male-female dynamic in the 1980s. I'm reading one of his books and thought that you knew about him because you spoke about when women talk about problems. No, that was an observation. I don't know the guy, no. I just came to that from observing, really. I had some good female teachers over the years, but I learned more by observing than by anything else. Joe says, so hard sometimes. Yes, it is one of the hardest things that we can do to cut that cord, because we know what it feels like to be on the receiving end of that. And we don't want to be that person. The other part is that we don't want to be cut off. We're afraid there won't be anything. If we let go of that relationship, there'll be nothing. And that's almost never true. It's almost never true. There's always going to be somebody who can fill the space for you. Question is, is the space they're feeling the one you're looking for, or is it just a placeholder? And most of us are just afraid that if we let go of the relationships we have, that somehow we won't have anybody. No, there won't be anybody. Well, sometimes, in order for us to find the people to walk alongside us, we have to first be willing to walk alone. You know, everybody wants to follow leaders. They want someone who can lead them and teach them and guide them. But sometimes that person has to be us first. It has to be us first, because until that happens, we don't really know who we are. We don't really know what we're about. So how can we make a better decision as to who is going to satisfy the needs that we have or not, right? Again, we all come into this world with the illusion that we're alone, that we're all separate, and we tend to leave with that idea too. Well, we're never really alone, at least not for any length of time. There's always something with us, and the longer I do this work, the more I really see that, perceive that on many different levels. Anyway, let's see here. Would you say that everybody has a main purpose that they were put on this planet to do, or that is all perspective and the grass is greener where you water it outlook? I think we all have main purposes in this life. I don't think there's one specific thing. I think we come in with a mission plan of objectives that we have to hit in this spiritual journey. And as we check those off, we get to upgrade to the next level. So I don't think we're ever really done until we're done. And I don't think that's something that takes place in one lifetime. I think we have missions that we come to fulfill, karmas we need to balance, or tikkuns we need to make if you're from a more orthodox Kabbalistic perspective. But I don't think there's just one. And I think every mission that we have, that we come into this world with, does things on multiple levels as our consciousness shifts. The things that you thought you wanted to learn about back when you were 22 or 12 or 5 have a much different significance to you now as you look back on them than they did when you first had them or when you first learned them, right? And so I think what those events have to teach us changes as our consciousness shifts. So I hope that helps. Jacques Joyeux is asking at Megan Silonite. Is that? Stephanie will send it in a download attachment. Alex P, any advice on staying in my desired identity? Sometimes I forget who I truly am. Love identity by design, just need to stay in that state 24/7. Your identities will spontaneously shift as the context and the environment you're operating in shifts. So if you want something to be more consistent, you have to consciously practice it and adopt it for at least 66 days for as long as possible, right? And you'll probably have to give yourself boosters every hour, every couple of hours, until you can hold it longer and it just becomes your default go-to state. It has to be a habit. All identities and all personalities are just habits of belief and behavior, ways and attitudes and moods. That's all they are. And if we want a different identity, if we want a different persona, then we have to practice it. Because none of them are the true you at any given moment. They're all just facets of an entity that's inhabiting a body. Okay? Hold on. Come on in. What do you got? Oh, now my daughter, my 12-year-old just tried to poke her head in, and now that I've pointed her out, she's trying to run back downstairs. All right. Let's see here. Let's see here. Satyrus says, hey, David, quick question. What time are you doing the platinum today? I'm going to do it in about 5 minutes. I have to actually log off, and thank you for reminding me. Hey, listen, for those of you, I got to log off and log into the Platinum AMA group. For those of you who want to get your questions answered and actually interact with me in a video format on Zoom, all you got to do is go to the community tab, subscribe to our Platinum level. You'll see a Zoom link for our Platinum AMA, which is going to start in about 4 minutes. And you can ask me your questions directly there. Or if you prefer, what you can do is when the replay of this AMA goes live, just go to the comment section, retype your questions in the chat, and I'll circle back later on this week or tonight or tomorrow, and I will do my best to type in the answers to the questions and point you at the resources that will get you more of what you want in the shortest amount of time possible. Sound like a deal? If you like that, go ahead and type that's cool. I'll do that in the chat. All right. Yeah, the link for the AMA set, I changed it. It's not 422 anymore, Esty. Okay. So let me see if I have I don't know if I have the Zoom link here anymore. I think I actually changed it. Oh, that's not good. Never mind. Anyway, all right. So listen, I got to run. I got to get out. I got to reconfigure everything. If you go to that Platinum AMA page, I'll go ahead and repost the Zoom link in a few minutes once everybody's set up. And I hope you had a good time. If you did, please like, share, let people know about what we're doing. We got a lot of great things coming up in the next 24 months on Planet David. I love you all. Good night. God bless. Take care.